President Trump had very big issues on trade that he wanted to get to with China. He felt like China, their trade practices were unfair. They weren't following all the global rules of trade. He was a little bit nervous that they would be provocative with Taiwan. And I felt like the two of them getting together would be the best way to try and resolve that. So the Chinese are very proud, and a lot of it is about face. And so in order to negotiate for that first call, we basically agreed on what would happen in the call. So not let's just have a call, say, hi, nice to meet you. It was a question of President Trump basically agreed that he would acknowledge the one China policy, which he didn't see as a big concession because you could always unacknowledge it the next day. So yeah, I'll acknowledge it and then we'll go. And in exchange, President Xi was going to come over to the U.S. for a visit so they could sit together. And they wanted to do it outside the White House. And so we agreed on Mar-a-Lago, which I also thought was good because President Trump always felt much more comfortable when he was hosting at his properties. And he just felt at home. And so he liked having people as his guests, and he loved it. He always felt really relaxed, and it was great. So that was really what we did. Then the Chinese come over, very much anticipated visit, and it was incredible. So they were supposed to sit together for 15 minutes, and they spent about an hour and a half together. And during that meeting, President Trump, they said, look, let's just set some ground rules to this relationship. Like, let's just not talk about Taiwan. Like, just don't do anything. I don't want it on the table. If it does, I'm going to have to do harsh things. I just don't want this to be a problem for 4 years. We got bigger issues. They basically just, again, you notice 4 years of Trump administration, no Taiwan talk whatsoever. It was a non-issue. Started talking about the trade issues. They spent a lot of time on North Korea. President Trump was trying to get the perspective from President Xi about North Korea because that was, again, considered from Obama the biggest national security issue that we faced at the time. And they just had a good feeling for each other. It also helped that, my wife and I, we actually had a Chinese nanny and teacher in our house, and our kids learned fluent Mandarin. And our daughter actually opened when President Xi and President Trump were together with Melania and with Madame Peng. My daughter actually sang them a couple of Chinese songs, and I thought that was a nice way to show, we're tough, but we respect your culture, because the Chinese have an incredible culture that goes back thousands of years. They're very proud in how they do it, and I think that sign of respect also set things off in a very warm way for President Trump to say, my granddaughter speaks Chinese, and we're showing you the respect, which I think is very important. And he did have respect for them. The next part about the visit, obviously we had a lot of discussions on trade, but the part that was probably most impactful to me was President Xi basically did an hour monologue at lunch where he just went through Chinese history from his perspective. And he talked about, with particular emphasis on kind of the Treaty of Unequals and then the 100 years of humiliation. And then you go through from Mao all the way to today, and you had, China coming back and rising. And you could tell that he learned the lessons from the past and was very committed to kind of seeing China go through. So that was a different time, right? So China today is different than it was in 2017.